Sometimes the secrets of a small town can make your heart stop.
And she goes, if something ever happens to me, look to him.
A local mother reportedly walks into the icy waters of Lake St. Clair and kills herself.
The first clues at the scene showed a single set of footprints across from the car into the water.
Police say it was suicide.
I believe firmly that this is a murder.
But why?
You know, she walked in on something, she heard something she shouldn't have known.
Signs of a struggle kept quiet. Questionable police practices.
It's perplexing that a car left in the parking lot of a church, you know, in the aftermath of a church service, would raise the alarms of a police officer just on his nightly rounds.
Mysterious missing keys suddenly reappear, and evidence collected donated to charity.
It was so out of typical police procedure that alone is suspicious.
A community on edge. 2 police departments find themselves in a lawsuit because of the way the case was handled.
He said the interviews of those individuals, basically to clear them. I said we don't clear people.
And now, for the first time, the man at the center of the controversy related to JoAnn Matouk Romain's death comes forward.
This is just a pure and simple evil witch hunt.
He sits down for an exclusive one-on-one.
Did you threaten JoAnn?
Face to face.
I do have to ask about that phone call because that's where this whole story starts.
Never before seen documents.
Tells the whole story for me.
This quiet little community has no idea what's about to be revealed.
And you say I'm being followed and all of a sudden she's missing? Yeah, you're not paranoid.
You thought the story was over? It begins right now on Dateline Detroit, Secrets of a Small Town. It was 11 years ago, police say JoAnn Matouk Romain walked into Lake St. Clair and killed herself. The case is still open. Her family believes she was murdered. Tonight, a closer look at this mystery. Why are there so many unanswered questions? And why, when you want to talk to people about this case, so many are afraid or worried to share what they know. Sometimes it's the quiet, small communities that hold the deepest, darkest secrets.
Is it just because they want Grosse Pointe Farms to be this safe haven of beauty and crime-free utopia?
It's a mystery that has haunted Grosse Pointe Farms.
I firmly believe they were her footprints.
And Grosse Pointe Woods for more than a decade. What happened to the mother of 3, JoAnn Matouk?
It remains one of the area's biggest mysteries. What happened to 55-year-old JoAnn Matouk Romain?
If you're like many, you were made first aware of her story January 12, 2010.
JoAnn's car was discovered in her church parking lot near the water's edge.
When Grosse Pointe Farms police reported the 55-year-old mother walked out of her evening church service at St. Paul's, walked across the street, and walked into Lake St. Clair and killed herself on that cold and blustery evening. Her body would be found 70 days later, washed up in Canada. JoAnn Matouk's story got the attention of the press, but didn't take center stage. Media typically doesn't report much on suicides.
Police say it's suicide.
Then there was word that JoAnn Matouk was paranoid, depressed. The public seemed satisfied with that explanation, but her family knew that was far from the truth.
And say you can describe something as paranoid or whatever, but when it's something real and you come to find out that it actually is real, and you say I'm being followed and all of a sudden she's missing, yeah, you're not paranoid.
Kelly Romain, JoAnn's daughter, remembers what her mother told her shortly before she died.
And said, you know, if something ever happens to me, look at him.
When she said that, what did you think?
And that's when all the craziness really started to happen.
To try and understand what was going on in JoAnn's life on that frigid Tuesday evening back in 2010, you first need to know more about the 55-year-old mother. JoAnn was born and raised in Grosse Pointe Woods. Her childhood spent in this home on Anita Street. She married David Romain in 1980. They had 3 children, Kelly, Michelle, and Michael.
She was very strong in her faith, in her family. You know, her family was her everything. Her kids were her everything.
The Romain children were raised in this home on Hidden Lane in Grosse Pointe Woods, a home filled with so many memories, birthday parties, lots of family dinners, and get-togethers with friends.
She was even everyone's second mom. Like, she just was the most loving, caring person you could ever come across.
The Romains had a happy life in their upper-class community, but 25 years into their marriage, the couple separated.
She was a little lady, but she was strong.
JoAnn moved in with her daughters. She kept herself busy with a part-time job and many trips to church.
She knew where all the services were.
She would regularly go to church once a week, sometimes 2 or 3 times.
You know, she always knew where there was a shorter service or a full service, or she knew where she could pop in.
St. Paul on the Lake in Grosse Pointe Farms was one of the places you could regularly find JoAnn, frequently stopping in for a quick prayer service. This is where she was on the evening of her disappearance, attending a 7 p.m. prayer service. According to investigative reports, at 7:20, a witness saw JoAnn exit the church. A minute later, another witness at the church said she heard a car alarm go off. She looked. It was a Lexus. JoAnn drove a Lexus. According to police reports, a third witness saw something strange at 7:50. A man who seemed out of place, wearing a lightweight coat and scarf, running strangely along the lakeside of Lakeshore Drive. Police would later find that scarf here on Lakeshore Drive. According to police records, put it into evidence, and then later donate it to charity. Just one of the questionable police practices you'll see as we go through this mystery. Meantime, Kelly and Michelle Romain got home about 9 o'clock after eating dinner out. They wondered why their mother wasn't home yet.
It's like I'm calling her. We're like, okay. She's not answering.
Maybe their mom turned off the phone in church, they thought. But worry started to grow.
That's strange. She would have called us if she went somewhere with her friends.
And I saw lights coming around the corner. I was like, oh, it must be Mom. And I look out the window, and it's a cop car.
The cop pulled up at our house at 9:24 p.m.
How do you know it's 9:24?
Because you instantly looked at my phone to see.
So I walk outside, and I walk up to the cop car, and I say, can I help you? And he said, we found your mom's car abandoned in the church parking lot. Is she missing? And then I thought to myself, how would he know she's driving that car? It's registered to me. So if you ran a license plate, you'd be looking for me, not my mom. So right away, I know something's off. Something's wrong.
Then the daughters wondered, why would police consider their mom missing after just a couple of hours of her car sitting in a church parking lot?
No police department in any city in all over the world is going to, after 2 hours, come to your house after a car's parked somewhere and ask if somebody is missing that was driving that vehicle. It's just not going to happen.
An all-out search for JoAnn Matouk Romain began that night. All police were working from was the fact that her car was left in the parking lot. You think you've got questions now? Wait until you see what happens next. Coming up, JoAnn's daughters start calling their mother's cell phone. Police tell the daughters to stay at the house and wait for their mom. The daughters don't listen and head to the church on the lake. And what they see is hard for them to believe.
But we hadn't reported her missing. She wasn't missing to us. So how is all of this going on?
They're telling us that she's in the water. We go, no, she's not.
Why did you say no, she's not?
What happened to the 55-year-old mother of 3? Could someone have been after her?
Why get rid of JoAnn Matouk? Because she knew too much?
More on the missing mother mystery. And later on Dateline Detroit, Secrets of a Small Town. Breaking his silence on his relationship with his cousin, JoAnn. Did you threaten JoAnn?
Absolutely not.
Did you ever threaten JoAnn?
Never. Never. I had no reason to. I like JoAnn.
Tim Matouk comes forward, sharing details of what he was doing the night JoAnn went missing. When we come back.